Hello and welcome back. Oh, hello and welcome back to the No More Trauma podcast and TV episode if you're watching me on YouTube. Welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening, whether it be Apple, iTunes, or SoundCloud. So, my name is Tanya, trauma survivor, trauma informed yoga teacher, coach, and wellness facilitator. I am also the um, publisher of the best selling The Happy Deck, an inspirational tool that you can use on and off your healing practice. So, on and off the yoga mats or in within your healing practice. And so the purpose of this podcast is to offer inspiration, healing, and, mental health, wellness tips, that you can use in your practice. And so today's episode, I'm really excited, really excited. I'm always excited. You probably say, you say that every episode. But I love this. I love this. I love doing the podcast. I love being able to share wisdom and lessons that I've learned. And again, for inspiration, or maybe it's healing. So I invite you to, to subscribe if you haven't and, share it with someone or to have a conversation with me. But anywho, let's get started. So this episode, again, I'm excited. So in this episode, we'll talk about the 4 elements of relaxation and how we can take these 4 elements of relaxation anywhere, right? So life can serve us some stress and with some unpredictable stressors, right? Because there's the healthy stress, which is the eustress, and then there is the distress. So life can serve us some of those stresses like unemployment, financial challenges, ailments, family dysfunction, relationship turmoil or marital, challenges, right? And so, loss and unexpected trauma. So these are the stressors that show up in our life. And so it has an impact on our emotional state, on our physical body. And so what if you can create a relaxation response whenever and wherever you are? Ooh, tell me that's immediately I think of the Matrix and I'm like, the pill, the magic bean to really release ourselves from this bind of stress. Because if anyone who's experienced a really hard time with stress or anxiety, it can really paralyze the body. And so there's that natural magical substance of being able to come into a place of relaxation. So the way you can reclaim your physical and emotional body and navigate the world in a smoother space, right? So in this episode, I'll go over the relaxation response and how you can become inspired to take it with you on the go. And I focus highly on the go because we're always moving, whatever that looks like for you, whether you're, a single mother and you're moving around with the kids, whether you're an entrepreneur and you're working on multiple projects, whether you're, a student and you're juggling, serving and being a student and a friend and extracurricular activities and projects, like we're always on the go and something shows up in life that really trickles a moment of stress, right? So I went over what stress is, right? So stress what those stressors are. So again, unemployment, maybe you know, are faced with all of a sudden, you know, walking into work and being told, you know, here's your severance package, we're going to have to, you know, let you go. Been there. You know, family dysfunction, all of those. And so Dr. Herbert Benson, because now we go into, you know, what is this relaxation response? Well, Dr. Herbert Benson, cardiologist, he's no longer with us. He recently transitioned this year, earlier this year, but cardiologist and founder of the Medical Institute in Massachusetts, Boston. And he is the author of the Relaxation Response, so you can find that text, that book, online. And so the relaxation response was actually introduced to me actually in my yoga practice. And so if you know, maybe follow me online, or just know a little bit more about my work, I teach a trauma-informed yin practice here in the state of Arizona. And this practice supports therapeutic rest. And in my training, I was introduced this work of the relaxation response and what it can do. And as I'm going through this, I'm saying, wait a minute, you know, this can be used on the go, right? You know, because as we're moving about through life, this can support anyone, you know, with a gentle reminder and practice, because of course, you know, anytime we pick up something new, it can be a little challenging to get the body in the groove of doing the thing. So now that we know who created this amazing relaxation response, what is it, Tanya? Get to the point now. So the relaxation response is the idea to interrupt and change unhealthy biology of the mind. This is my definition. interrupt and change the unhealthy biology of the mind to a healthy and harmonious space to navigate your personal and outward lifestyle. Okay, so bringing the body back into homeostasis, as the body is reaching homeostasis after a trauma. So bringing the body back into equilibrium. Okay. So, because again, you know, let's kind of take it a little bit deeper, really quickly here. When we are caught up in something that stresses us out, you know, that can be stressful, or when the body is stressed, it's either paralyzed the body, or there's this notion that we want to resist what is happening. And as I was reading this morning, finishing up The Heart of the Soul, Emotional Awareness with Gary Sukov, he explains that the reason why we resist something is because either we don't trust it, we fear it, we're not ready to receive it or accept it, we're judging it. And when we do that, we create more stress, right? So resistance to your life is lack of trust in the universe. I just took it a little bit into the spiritual aspect. Right? So when we accept our life, you accept all of the experience. You accept your resistance also. So you become at last compassionate and patient friend with yourself. Okay, I'm taking it a whole nother way, but you know, that's for, you know, my spiritual listeners who are just, you know, into that kind of thing. And so, you know, maybe that's not your language or your dialogue, and that's okay, you know, little by little by little. And so going into the relaxation response. So the relaxation techniques are practices to help bring about the body's relaxation response which is characterized by slower breathing, lower blood pressure, and a reduced heart rate. The relaxation response is the opposite of the stress response, right? So we're not manipulating what is causing us stress, right? We're not manipulating that, right? Maybe you got some news and it's causing you stress, or you're having to respond to an email and that's causing you stress, or maybe you have a pile of laundry and you have, other work to do that's also pressing and that's causing you stress, or maybe you have projects at work and it has a deadline and you have to get to that and that's causing you stress, right? And so if we take a moment, kind of saying what Gary Sukov was saying, if we accept it, take a moment to accept it, breathe in, inhale, exhale, come to that place of knowing, right? These are the things that are on my list that are causing me stress, or maybe that conversation that I had caused me a little bit of stress, but if we accept it, accept the context of that conversation, right? If we accept it and accept what it is causing, and that's, this is causing me some discomfort. This is causing me frustration. This is causing me, a little anger, or, beneath that is, beneath anger is fear, right? And underneath that fear is pain. So if we, fear then pain. So if we come to a place of understanding, right, of what it is that's causing us stress, if we accept it and come to a place of understanding, then we can come into this relaxation response, right? Or this relaxation response can help us come to a place of understanding, right? But the goal is to, in this episode is not really just the understanding piece, because that can be another episode, another podcast session, as I like to call these. But the idea is to bring the body back from the stress, okay? So the spiritual lesson on stress, or my spiritual listeners, so when something doesn't meet our approval, so just what I was stating, so when something doesn't meet our approval, we tend to resist and avoid the situation, rather than looking at the circumstance to see how we can authentically change it after we've accepted it, okay? So avoiding and adding anger, fear, doubt, frustration, violence to a stressful circumstance causes us to become depleted. And that's what happens when we become stressed, is we're depleted, or we become fatigued, right? And that's the thing about unhealthy stress, is because when we're stressed, so if we go back, I'm going to take it even further, and don't mind the cars moving behind me outside. If we take this just a little bit further, just a little bit, if we go back to the last episode and it was about decluttering, and that's why I wanted to bring this episode next, is because now that we've decluttered, and if you're still on that journey, that's perfectly okay, no rush, right? You're on your own timing, and time is an illusion. But if we go on that idea back to stress, because stress is what causes clutter, right? And so when we're avoiding something, right, we're avoiding that laundry, we're avoiding the projects at work, we're avoiding, the kids having to, take the exams to get to, to physical exams to get to join the, soccer team, whatever that looks like, right? And we're avoiding that conversation that we had and how to smooth that out, right? And so when those stressors come up, that's what creates the clutter, right? And so if you've been able to clear the clutter, in your home space, your workspace, the car, right? The fridge, in your emotional body, right? If you had to do a detox or a cleanse. You're no longer avoiding those uncomfortable emotions around it. You've been able to declutter. How can I include or create or cultivate this relaxation response to sustain it? Woo! Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Yes. So, avoiding and adding anger, fear, doubt, frustration, violence, or stressful circumstances causes us to become depleted, right? And it has that unhealthy effect because now it also creates a domino impact on our health, our diet, our living arrangements, our finances, and our relationships. So just take a moment to let that sink in. So in this idea of decluttering and creating more harmony in our homes, our careers, our financial accounts, our family ships, our partnerships, our friendships, and post-traumatic events, we can use the relaxation response to help sustain healthy balance within ourselves and our outward environments. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. So when we think about, now that I've accepted it, these are the things that are causing me stress. I kind of have to face it head on and, sit with it. And how am I going to, in a healthy way, allow it to change, right? How can I create order, and harmony? Let me first come to this place of relaxation, and how can I take this with me on the go? So what is the relaxation response? You're saying, Tanya, okay, now I'm in. Now I'm all in because I want to continue this space of harmony. So, excuse me, I'm drinking pumpkin latte. Can you believe? Pumpkin all year round? Yeah. So the 4 stages of the relaxation techniques. Number 1, right? So it's creating a peaceful environment, right? So it's free from stressors like, if we think about our environment, I want you to look around wherever you are as you're listening to this podcast and think about the environment you're in right now, right? Can it elicit some form of relaxation? Okay, so how's the temperature? Okay, are you warm? Are you cool? Are you cold? What about the lighting? Are there any harsh lighting? The noise around you? And is this space comfortable? So this is your workplace, your home, your car, within your body, right? So if you look around you, does it elicit some form of comfort? Okay. So if you're in a space, I would like to say if you're in this space for a large part of your day, the idea to take this on the go, and if you're caught in a space of stress, how can you elicit that around you, right? So how can you create this space, maybe finding a space within the space that you're in. If you're in a workspace, so for example, I was working in a corporate office, and whenever I felt, overwhelmed, there was this little nook. They called it the quiet room. And can you believe this room had it looked just like a therapist's office. Even better. It had 2 chairs, dim lighting. There was carpet. So I do like to say, as much as not a huge fan of carpet, but you know, a good rug is great. But this room had carpet, and what was amazing is like carpet provides a sense of comfort, at least for me. And there was a yoga mat, some beautiful calming paintings on the wall, a little radio, candles. It was great. And so I would go in there, and this was my space to create that relaxation response on the go, because I was there all, for a large part of my day. And so, I like to say, if you're ever, if you're out and you have to think of, where are the emergency exits? Well, where is this space that can provide me the relaxation response? Oof. So the next one, number 2, is a mental focusing tool, right? So now that you're in your space, you've created this space in your home, your workspace, maybe in the home it's a little nook. I have to laugh because I hear a lot of mothers say that quiet space is either 2 places, the bathroom or the closet, to get away from the little ones. So, finding and creating this relaxation response, a peaceful environment for the relaxation response. And so a mental focusing tool, this can be a prayer, this can be a candle, this can be your breath, right? Focusing on the breath. This can be the heart space. This can be a beautiful photo, maybe that photo is, your favorite place in the world. Maybe it's like a postcard, maybe it's a beautiful flower or a tree. Maybe it's a childhood, like a childhood photo, or a loved one. It can be the sun. Woo! It can be a plant. It can even be an affirmation. So speaking of affirmations, you can also check the mantras for the week by tuning into the newsletter. So you can sign up there. But yes, the next one is number 3, a comfortable physical position, right? And so an option for somatic safety is when you take, so for example, and I believe this is by Dr. Peter Levine, is taking, so that physical position, you'll take the right palm, so you can do this with me as I talk you through. So taking that right palm, gently placing it, across the chest and reaching for the left side body, right underneath the armpit, right? So about 3 inches below the armpit, and using that left palm and gently placing it across the chest over to the right shoulder. So as you firmly press into the shoulder and right underneath that armpit, pressing into the side body, it can create a space of relaxation. So it almost looks as if you're giving yourself a gentle hug. And so maybe that left elbow is sitting on that right wrist, and you're gently just pressing and just giving yourself a gentle hug. And maybe you inhale through the nose, exhale, allowing the shoulders to fall away from the ears, just pressing into the body. So this is a great technique to support, anxiety and stress. Okay, so creating a comfortable position for yourself. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe that, technique isn't your thing, and maybe just placing the palms down on the knees. Right? If you're sitting in a chair or the couch or recliner, and soles of the feet down onto the earth, just grounding into the earth, crown of the head in line with the spine. So maybe that's a comfort position for you. Mine's is a fetal position. I like to lay all the way down, right on my side. And, just kind of, just take a moment to lay there. But, some spaces won't offer that. So you can also try lying on your back, right? And so maybe it feels like a space of surrender. And I do apologize for the noise outside my window here. But I thank you for your patience and continued listening. So the next one, number 4, is mindful attitude. I love this one. So Dr. Benson Herbert, he states, so this releases you from expectations and judgment about your fears and your stresses. Okay, so keeping a mindful attitude. Okay, so Gary Zukov even states, like, the minute you begin to judge what you're resisting, right? So resisting that conversation, resisting that pile of laundry, resisting, maybe that response in the email or via text. The minute you resist it is the moment you're judging it. Woo. But if you just accept that is the response, that is the laundry, that, that's the grade you got on your test, the minute you accept that, you're no longer judging it. And so if you keep a mindful attitude, you have no expectations, right? And so the more we can remain neutral, the more we can remain calm and open, the easier we can sift through the uncomfortable challenges that show up in the day, right? So the moment that we can just remain calm from the response, from the daily tasks, from that to-do list, and we accept that is what is, and come into this space of relaxation, we can accept it, and then we become more open on how to navigate further. I hear the birds chirping now. They get it. So this beautiful technique can really support our overall well-being. It can be used on the go with great practice and gentle reminders. Okay, so taking a moment to visualize all the things that bring your soul comfort. That's the idea, right? So as we bring this session to a close, I invite you to write on a index card, a post-it note, right, whatever it is, and wherever you can place this, in your wallet, in your car, on your desk, in your home space, or a place where you can be reminded in a midst of stress. The idea is to come out of this place of distress, right? Eustress is healthy. That's your healthy stress. Those are the deadlines, and those are the things where it's like, ooh, a little frazzled, have a couple things to do, but the things, the traumatic events, the things that are causing us anxiety, the things that paralyze our nervous system and keep us in bed, been there. It's to be reminded of the things that really brings your soul comfort. If you've decluttered your space and you really want to sustain this place of comfort, relaxation, of calm, harmony, tranquil, then you will utilize this relaxation technique to come back in reclaiming who you are, what you stand for, and the things that you wish to enjoy throughout your daily life. And heal all the things that you need to heal the best way, the way that works for you. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I would love to know your feedback. But, like again, the homework is to, take an index card or a Post-it note and write down the birds. They're excited. They're like really chirping now. They're like, yes. But yes, a peaceful environment, maybe birds chirping outside in the sun. But what is that? What does that look like to you? A mental focusing tool, whether it's a mantra, whether it's a candle, whether it's, just focusing on the breath, something easy for you, or a photo, what is that comfortable position for you? And, a mindful attitude, so maybe, even that can be a mantra for you that, hey, I know that this is all working out for me, and, by the universe, the universe is guiding me, whatever that is. Maybe that's not your type of dialogue, your type of lingo, and that's okay, but put it in something that works for you. So I thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I love doing these sessions, whether you're listening to me, Apple, SoundCloud, or YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Share it with anyone that you think can benefit from listening. You can write a review and, just share with me as to, how this has supported you on your journey. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you live abundantly, love your authenticity, and radiate all that organic happiness. But most importantly, live life of no more trauma. Namaste, trauma free. All right, I'll see you back. Bye.